the folks that couldn't make it today will be able to see it later on, and if you need to go back and collect the emails that are at the bottom of the screen there or anything like that, any of this material, that way it'll be on our website under the Innovative Ideas section of the MFS website. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Edmonton.
There we go. I hope everyone can see me. Hello. This is Angela calling from Edmonton, but I'm actually calling out of Timmins, Ontario right now. I'm on my holidays. So I'm happy to take any questions, and please feel free to email me, but just know that I'll be on vacation for another week. So I'll get around to that when I'm back. So if we can get started, Jonathan, on the first slide. I wanted to get started with basically their pre-posting packages. So just to run you through what we do in Edmonton, typically we see between 600 to 900 members clear in each year. It's quite a significant number, and we're in the thick of it now, right? So in the middle of July, we see a lot of people coming in. We do offer the packages in English or in French.
Angela, this is Jonathan here. Would you be able to approach the mic a little bit more, or just speak up a little bit?
I can. So the packages, like I was saying, are offered in English or French. You can pick up either or. We do have a pre-posting package, a family package, single package, and one for youth as well. And can you hear me okay now?
Yep, that's perfect.
Okay. So if the family does come with a member to our center, we do offer them a tour, and we'll talk them through everything, sign them up for our e-blast, tell them about what we've got going on. If they're not part of the clear-in process, then we do encourage them to sign up for a welcome line call. And that's something we've been doing for the past few years, and we found really successful. Sometimes it's hard to get the information from the member, but when we do get that phone number and we do make that connection, we found it's a really positive experience for families, and something that I would encourage you to think about if it's something you're not doing already. So one of the questions we had in terms of sending out packages, we're wondering who actually mails them out in advance. So if your center, and if you're on the Webex, if your center is doing pre-postings, which are mailed, if you could maybe just put your little hand icon up, and we'll see who's connecting with families that way. See a few. Okay, so not too many doing that piece then. For ourselves, we don't always get the information ahead of time in Edmonton, so we do rely on the units to pass the information along. In some cases, we wait for the families to reach out to us. They might send us a message by Facebook or an email just saying, "Hi, I'm coming to Edmonton. You know, do you have any information to help us get settled?" And so right away we'll say, you know, would it be helpful for your family if we mailed you a package? And if they indicate that they can, then we mail it to their home address. If that's the case, it's just a tailored package. We don't send the full package. We just bring it down a little bit, and we'll send them a little folder. And essentially inside we'll have our welcome letter, just letting them know, which is bilingual. And if anybody wants to see that message, I'd be happy to pass that along. The other piece that we include is our Welcome to Edmonton guide, which is available to you at the end of the presentation, so you can take a peek at that. And inside, this is where they'll get their basic information: doctors, education, housing, you know, finding employment, these kinds of pieces. And these we actually print in-house, so we do this ourselves. And we tend to print them just as needed sort of thing, and we'll also update them as needed. But we do kind of go through the whole document at the beginning of each year. So usually January, February, we'll have some volunteers help us make sure all this information is up to date. So that's fabulous. The other thing we'll include is our community guide, the most recent one that we have, and this will talk about the programs and services that are going on, not just with the MFRC, but PST, our community council, the clubs, groups, Padres, all that information is in this document. So we'll get those items and then just, you know, a brochure about our services. And then we still encourage them to come in and get a full welcome package. You can see our pre-posting package there is pretty basic. don't want to have all this mailing cost. So if we can switch slides, Jonathan, we'll get into the meat of it. So when they do come in, we have a few giveaways that we like to hand out to families that are pretty popular, and I wanted to show everybody our little heap of coins. So essentially these are the little coins that go into a grocery cart, and we weren't sure how popular they would be, but people actually get quite excited about receiving them, so that's one of the items I might suggest looking into if you can. The other little giveaway we do is we give everybody a $5 Tim's card upon arrival, and that comes through our fundraising dollars, and it's just one of those niceties when you arrive. The messaging is, welcome to Edmonton, we'd like you to get your first coffee on us. And we find that even though it's a small gesture, they always just really appreciate it. They're so thankful. So it's just a nice touch to make them feel like, somebody's caring about them. And then that's when we add in, we find out a little bit about their family. Do they need information on more schooling? We'll give some community resources. We have some key phone numbers that we'll give out, some information about the base. They'll get a little first aid kit, just a mini one they can keep in their car, a notebook. If we have some family information lines, some of their giveaways will include those, or a brochure, some of the information from MFS, the Strength Behind the Uniform brochure that they hand out, pieces about healthcare, right? So they know when they arrive they don't have to wait the 30-day period. Thank you, MFS, for helping with that. And maybe bus schedules, pieces like that. We also include, I don't want to miss the relocating guide. Sorry, that actually does go in our pre-posting packages as well. I think that's done out of Cold Lake. I'm not sure anymore. And I don't know, does everybody know what that document is? Do we have any questions about that? Okay. We still good for audio too?
Yeah, could you explain the relocating guide? I don't know much about it.
So, yeah, essentially it comes from the Courier newspaper, I believe, out of Cold Lake, and they get information from all the bases across the country, just a quick blurb of every base, and then it's basically an advertisement for realtors and different community resources.
Oh, okay.
But I know it's one of the questions that comes up most often is, where can I find a realtor? And we're not going to give out that information, but we can connect them to this relocating guide, which is done through the Canadian Forces Newspaper Association.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I'll talk quickly about our tailored packages. We do have one for single members, which is essentially identical other than the pieces that they may not need. If they don't need information about the local schools, if they don't need information about doctors, we just take those pieces out. The other pieces are the same, though, so that's pretty straightforward. And then we do have a custom package also for the youth. And I brought one of our little boxes here. So they come in a little pizza box, which is a little bit cheesy, but they think it's cute. So we've done that. And inside they'll have, the latest youth center calendar, programs that are just for youth. They'll get flyers. And rather than a coffee card, we give them a little Cineplex gift card so they can go to the show and hopefully maybe find a friend that way. And then they're offered a tour of the youth center as well. So that's that. So does anybody have any questions so far about what we're including?
Totally different thing than we do. So it's really cool.
You should have commented.
I don't see any questions in the chat. Are there any questions on the telephone?
Okay, I saw a few names scrolling by. Sounds good. So we just also wanted to cover the kinds of questions that we get asked in terms of either when they arrive or before they arrive. It's always what programs are available for my child, and so we'll go through that with them. Where can I go for employment support is the top one. How do I find a doctor? How do I find a specialist? Or how do I find support for my child who has special needs? And then, actually, this is probably my number one. Where do I get free tickets? How do I get discounted tickets? What kind of deals are on? So we're always promoting the CF appreciation card and encouraging people to sign up to follow our e-blast so that they can get those information or free tickets as they arrive, and help them out that way.
Excellent.
Is there anything
Okay.
that anybody adds to their packages that maybe is something different or unique that we're not included? Doesn't look like it. Okay, that's it for Edmonton for right now, unless there's any questions later.
And by the way, just as a follow-on to Angela's question, if you guys do have any cool things that you include in your welcome package that you'd like to share with others, I'm happy to upload that to the website as well under resources, just so that we can share it around and hopefully learn from each other and get the best possible stuff out there. So thanks very much, Angela. So we're moving on to Petawawa now.
Hello.
Hi, Julie.
Hello, everyone. I don't usually sit on the boardroom table, but the only way we can get the camera to work, so I apologize for that. So for our welcome process, it's similar to Edmonton's. Petawawa, we are very fortunate that we do get COS messages. So we find out about most of the people who are coming to the base in advance. Because we have that information, we send our welcome package by mail to the home unit. If we get that information 3 weeks before they're due to come, if it's less than 3 weeks, by the time they get it, it's going to get lost. So if it's more than 3 weeks, we'll actually send a package to their current unit. Once they arrive, we have a location called the Family Center where they go to clear in. So when we get there, we ask if they've received an information package. If they haven't, we will give them a paper copy. We ask them if they want to subscribe to the newsletter. We also have a series of rack cards. So if the person has a family or if they have specialized needs, we'll tailor an information kit based on what they want. If it's a single member or just a couple, they don't need like the 8 pamphlets that we have on childcare, so we sort of keep those off to the side. So we'll flip to the next one. So here's our welcome package. Basically what it includes is we have our welcome booklet. It's about a 20-page booklet, and it's got information and resources, links and information about utilities, how they can sign up to get on the waiting list for a doctor, where they can find a dentist, information about Brookfield. We also have a lot of community information in there. On the top right-hand corner, we have a fridge magnet, and it's got all the key information about the agency, key telephone numbers, as they'll need. We also have a little card on the bottom that tells them about our app. We have an app for the PMFRC, so you can go on to get information about events, services. We have a job board there, so all that information is there on the app if they'd like it. We are very fortunate that the organization provides us with maps. So we provide a map of the Petawawa and Pembroke, which is essentially right next door to Petawawa. A lot of people end up visiting Pembroke, and also the tourism information. So that is what we send out in the package. It's not a standard kit. It's 5.5 by 8.5, and we found that helps us to cut down on our mailing costs. So get a smaller one. So that's our package. So what we found has worked for us. When families come to us, they like the fact that they send a welcome package before the move. They like having something that they can sort of take a look at, sort of circle things, what's going to happen, where they're going to go to visit, how to get information about the schools, that kind of thing. So a lot of that stuff, they can do a lot of research before their house hunting trip. A lot of people, when they arrive for their house hunting trip and go to the family center, they have the welcome package actually in there. They like the fact, they've told us they like the fact that we have maps. I guess somewhat fortunate in Petawawa, we have a small town, so if we could provide a map that's a little bit bigger than a page, you can get all of the streets in Petawawa on that map. So I guess it's a little bit more of a challenge in Edmonton with a bigger center, but you can get most of the regions. And when they come and look for a school or a house, they can sort of see where the different regions are. That can help them out. And the other comment we get from families, no matter how many times we hear that people are going electronic, they love the paper. They want to get a paper booklet. They like having it in their hands. They like writing on it. But we do offer a flip book version of the welcome booklet. So it's essentially everything that we have in the welcome booklet, except all of the links that we provide are clickable. You can just go from there. The other thing, we have more photos in our welcome booklet, so it's a little bit longer. A lot of the stuff that we took out of the paper version sale for mailing, we put that back in the electronic version. So we also have embedded links for videos in there. We have a lot of links going back to Task Connection. So that sort of helps us from that perspective. I've got a question that I wanted to ask. Maybe you can sort of put it in the chat version. How many people have for their welcome packages? Do you have primarily a paper? Do you have electronic, or do you have a version, sort of a split of both? You can write that in the chat for us to see what people are doing.
And for those on the phone, if you have a paper or electronic, just let us know.
Once you have a paper version in the PDF, it's just so easy to put it up electronically. We do ours through Uberflip. So if anybody's looking for information about that, the prices we pay for those services, I'd be happy to tell you more about it. Okay, so people have this time of year, I'm sort of scrolling through the Petawawa South page and some of the Petawawa pages, and whenever I see somebody who's saying, you know, we're posted into Petawawa, or whenever I get an email from somebody asking about anything, childcare, anything, I send them the link to the welcome package to make sure that they have a version. So I email that out a lot of times at this time of year. So before we go to the next page, I just wanted to ask everybody, and again in the chat bar, when people are getting ready to move into your area, what are the things that they're calling and asking you the most often? What are the questions or hot things or people that, when you're contacting PMFRC, what are they looking for from you before they move?
So you've got housing as one of the comments here.
Yeah, health, childcare, doctor. I think it's pretty consistent everywhere.
Yeah, childcare and employment. Housing right now is huge in childcare, schools and childcare. I'm just labeling these up just for the folks on the phone as well. Schools and childcare, hard copy, all information of our welcome package is put in St. John's MFRC promotional sling pack. Doctors and housing, and childcare, employment, housing, and doctors.
I think it's pretty consistent for everybody. For us, we get a lot of questions about hotels. Because Petawawa is a smaller center, they don't have the same kind of selection of hotels that they would have if they were going to another center. So house hunting trips frequently this time of year, the hotels are full. We get a lot of questions about kennels and pet sitting for when people are moving in. So we have a section of our welcome package that we've gone back and forth about whether we keep it, but we get so many questions on when do we get to put them up. And the other one for us is finding a doctor. Unfortunately, in Petawawa, we have to provide this information to go on the waiting list because there are not doctors here. But that's the number one question that we get this time of year: is how do I get a GP, and can you make a call and get me a GP? And sadly, the answer is no. Our package has gone through a lot of changes. We modified the package quite a bit in the last year or two, just to help with mailing costs. So like I said, we put a lot of that information on the flipbook version. And the other thing we did is we took a lot of those key numbers and we put them on Task Connection. So on Task Connection in the community, we have a section called useful telephone numbers. We used to have a significant section for food bank, community living, assisted living for people who were moving with an older parent. So we put all that information in your community useful links. And that sort of helps us to push that along. And that's what we're doing in Petawawa. I have one last question for my own interest sake. How many of the centers accept advertisers to fund their welcome package? I know a couple of you do. Does anybody have a welcome package?
So no from North Bay. We use local business. From another, we used to and are looking at it in the future. And then for mainland BC, no. St. John's, no. and Borden, no, and Yellowknife, no.
Thank you.
Just
before we go, I just want in Petaluma, we send about 800 to 1,000 welcome packages each year. So that's how many we're mailing out every year.
Okay, excellent. And Julie, just as a follow-on to your question, and I apologize if you mentioned that already, but the advertisers, how much of an influence do you find that is?
We don't have advertisers, but it's one of those things that as we pull things out of the welcome booklet, and we think, do we want to expand the size of it? That would we, if we want to make a bigger gloss here, that would be a way to fund it.
Right, right. Okay.
It's sort of a idea I was tossing around.
Yeah. And Diane from St. John's mentioned we also provide information and promotional material for CISIP. So Devin, you were just asking in the chat, what was the question? I missed it. The question was, does anyone use advertisers to help out with the development of their welcome packages, or to provide financial support for to make a more fancy print, that sort of thing? And Devin, you said, oh, thanks, we've considered it. Okay. So are there other questions from those on Webex? Feel free to submit them via the chat. So we have Devin mentioned that we have advertisers for a community guide, but not gone down that route for welcome packages, but it's on our radar. And then Elaine from Suffield said we provide information on businesses that support the military community, and then Devin said yes, we also do that as well. Any other questions from those folks on the phone? I think it's *7 to unmute if you do find yourself muted. Okay. Well, like I said before, if you guys have any additional items that you wanted to share with others in terms of possible ideas for welcome packages, things that you find work really well with families where they're always seem to be clamoring for them, as was mentioned before in terms of the coins or the magnets or the free Timmy's cards, those kinds of things, feel free to send them my way. I can either upload pictures to the website, or I can upload particular resources, whatever works best. This has been recorded, so it will be put on YouTube, and the link will be available on the website as well as these presentations, so that you can access it at any time. And within the presentations is are the contact info for both Angela and Julie. So thank you very much to Angela and Julie for preparing all this and for sharing their ideas, and thank you to all of you for sharing half an hour with us. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you.